Greetings, comrades. I know it's been a while since I've uploaded. I still haven't gotten a new mic, but I have a little bit of free time tonight, and I decided, you know what, why not play a game and actually start a series. I have a few plans, just to give you an idea. I want to do the previous video on automation and actually make that into a series of shorter videos so I can collect my thoughts better, because I feel like it is a pretty shitty job, honestly, even though some people seem to have liked it. Seems to have gotten quite a few views, probably because the topic is interesting to people. But yeah, so be prepared for that. And then also someone gave an idea for how I could play Crisis in the Kremlin again, and may do that in a bit, but I don't know when either is gonna happen. Right now, we're just playing Victoria 2, alright? And it seems like a great fit for the channel, because Victoria 2 is an economic simulation game, for the most part. It's a lot of different things, just like all Paradox games. It's a grand strategy game, so there are a lot of different facets. But with the Victoria series, I guess, especially Victoria 2, this iteration, which definitely needs a sequel, it has a real focus on just the economics of it, and that's really the shining quality. So because of that, and because I want to have just a nice, peaceful little game, you might notice in the left I have all these beautiful little save games of the country I've selected right now, Serbia. Tiny little country, and we're gonna play them because we are honestly just going to be fiddling around. And yeah, so there is a lot to unpack with this game, and I'm not really too sure where to begin actually. So it has a province system like every Paradox game. Each province has a different good that can be produced. In the case of Serbia, it only has grain in 3 of its provinces. In this province right here, it has coal. That is very good because grain and coal are some of the best resources that you could have in the early game. And the reason being is that, again, this is an economic simulation. And in the production view, you can see there are a lot, and I mean a lot of different goods that you can produce. And so that's one of the things. There's a lot that you kind of have to learn, and that's pretty much the case in every Paradox game. And it takes a few playthroughs to learn exactly what works, though of course you can also just look online. But right now we produce 9 units of grain every day. This works on a day system. And we also produce about 3 units of coal every day, more or less. And if we look in here, we can see the coal is produced by our miners. We produce 0.16% of the world supply. And there is the domestic usage right here. And you can see that the different straws of population, which we'll also get into in just a minute, is right here. And then it also shows the different things that we can use it for with the technology. Well, actually, no, it seems like even it shows things that we could use it for later on when we get different technologies. So for coal, we can use it for ammunition, we can use it for cement, we can use it for gears, we can use it for glass, we can use it for machine parts, all sorts of stuff. Now, what we're really interested in is the fact that it can make glass. Because at the start of the game, coal is in very short supply, which therefore means that glass, the good that you produce it with, is also in glass, which is produced from coal, is in very short supply. And then from the glass, you can produce liquor with grain. And liquor is one of the best early game things to produce because a lot of different populations use it. And let's go into that right now. Victoria 2 is a game about economics, as I said, primarily, and also uses a pop system, short for population. And the pops are these little guys right here. They have their size, which is not exactly their population. The size represents a family. So if we go over here, we can see the adult male population is 202.4 thousand, right? And back in the 1800s, which is when this takes place, or well, it goes from 1836 to 1936, so it's 1800s and then early, or I guess early to mid 1900s. But point being, pretty much it was just the adult male population that would be able to work, and that only accounts for about a fourth of the total population. The rest are just indisposed for one reason or another. And so just keep in mind that the size represents a family, because for a few things that makes things makes things a little easier in terms of justifying it. So right now we can see we have these soldiers. They have their nationality, they have their religion, they have their location, they have all sorts of different things. Now, just to sort of get into this, let's focus on needs. And the needs system is, I would say, in lots of regards, close to what we consider Marx to have written when he said needs. With communism, from each according to their ability to each according to their need. He doesn't mean like their actual explicit need for living. He more just meant in general, whatever you need and whatever you really want. It was more of in terms of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Hopefully a lot of you know what I mean by that. But anyway, you have these different needs. You have your life needs, which are just pretty much the regular stuff, just in order to survive. For soldiers, they need a bit of wool, stay warm, I would assume. Cattle, fish, fruit, and grain, just to eat. That sort of thing. Now, when you get to the everyday needs, then you get to the fancier goods, which is just a bit of luxury, but not quite. They would enjoy having their own guns and ammunition. They enjoy coal to heat up their homes. Tea, liquor, just to have fun drinking. Some clothes every once in a while. Because, of course, every couple of years, I'd say that some people need new clothes, though, I guess it depends. You can need new clothes every year, it really depends, but yeah. That's counted as everyday needs. And also there's furniture. So that's the everyday needs. If you have everyday needs, then your population is very happy. If you don't have everyday needs, then your population gets unhappy. If you don't have life needs, then they're just really unhappy. And then we get to the luxury needs. And these are, as it says, the luxuries. They are the things that are just, if you have the ability to attain these, you're pretty much just set. You're wealthy. And for soldiers, it's paper, tobacco, coffee, liquor, more clothes. You can see it's a higher supply of clothing than just the everyday needs. And furniture again. Again, more furniture than before. Now, these needs are different for different population units. So as you can see, the officers need wine and luxury clothes for their luxury needs. And that's not necessarily something you have to pay attention to, because a lot of it just fixes itself. But depending on your situation, you may have to keep in mind what all these different needs are, and if these needs aren't being met, then do certain things in order to try and satisfy it. And so, with that out of the way, let's go into the budget screen. And in the budget screen, we have different tax sliders. Oh, one thing with population. So, important stuff to just note is militancy and consciousness. Militancy is how angry the population is. Consciousness represents political consciousness, class consciousness, that sort of thing. So if you have a very conscious population, then they have a much greater want for reforms, and if they don't get those reforms, then it also increases their militancy. So if you're not planning to reform your government and have a lot of different progressive policies, then consciousness can sometimes be worse in the long term than just militancy. Alright, let's actually get to the budget now. Now in the budget screen, we can see general things about our populations. Green is people getting their life needs fulfilled, blue is everyday needs, light blue would be luxury needs, and red is none of their needs. And right now artisans aren't getting any of their needs, but you don't have to worry too much about that because artisans are kind of in a fluctuating state of having money, because they represent the small businesses, you know, the craftsmen. Well, they don't actually represent the craftsmen represent the craftsmen, but these are just your small, independent, petit bourgeois, really. And they're who produce your manufactured goods in the early game, before you produce factories. And so you have these taxes for the different stratas. The poor, the middle, and then the rich. And because we have such a deficit, and it is not at all unusual to have a deficit, we are going to drive taxes up. We're going to put our military expenses down, because stockpile is just what gives your army their morale, so you don't really need that unless you're in war, and we're really not planning to ever be in a war. Again, this is just going to be pretty much just sit and wait boring mode, and just learning about the game, telling you about different facets of it, and just sort of relaxing and enjoying myself. And hopefully you'll all enjoy too. So we have taxes way up. It's at 100%, but because we have tax efficiency, which is very bad, then we don't actually get 100% of their income. We only get 23%. So you don't have to worry about setting the tax ladder all the way up. You just have to worry about what the actual effective tax is. Now, we're going to keep mill tax right here, or we might make it a little bit higher. Because, again, artisans are a problem, because they have a bit of an issue with staying afloat in the long term, and if they aren't afloat, then that can seriously harm your economy in the long run. It can also affect, obviously, your population having their needs fulfilled. So we're going to slide administration down to nothing, and the reason being is that administration can very easily get bloated in this game. We might have it at 1%, sure. Actually, no. And there's reason for this, which I'll get into. And it kind of is why I picked Serbia. It's because of abusing a bug. And we're going to have education a little bit down, though we might be able to get it up. A little higher than that. Should be good, and we'll just have to look and see what happens. We can select our single state, which we have Northern Serbia, and we can say that we want the different populations who naturally promote and demote every month to try and promote be clergymen. And clergymen are what educate your population, raise your literacy up, which in turn raises the amount of research that you get, which is of course what you use to get technology. Again, there is a lot to this game. And I think that's actually going to be the end of this episode. We're taking Malthusian thought because that gives bonus to educational efficiency. And I will see you in the next episode.